got
Permission to Dance. BTS.
I've seen like 2 seconds of it. I've seen Pancakes.
Hey, they had pancakes in the other one, in butter. Maybe this is a continuation.
What do you think pancakes symbolize? Soft and sweet?
Life.
Because
it's stacked. Life is stacked. It's soft, sweet, mushy, but can be bad.
It can't be burnt. Alright, we got BTS Permission to Dance. See what they go.
I wish these were kind of wireless.
No, the wired headphones are the best.
Our future selves are going to be like, wow, I can't believe we had wired headphones.
Wireless can never beat something that's hardwired, though.
That's true.
Look how thick those pancakes
they're mad
are,
thick.
right? Oh my god.
They're like hotcakes.
I'm so hungry. But they also had a song called Butter, right?
Yeah. That's the one where he was eating.
The pancakes?
But he was actually eating butter.
I see.
It's the thought of being when your heart just like a drum.
Yo, I thought he was singing in Spanish for 1 second.
Okay, let's get it.
Beating louder with nowhere to guard it. When it all seems like it's wrong, sing along to Elton John and to that feeling we're just getting started. When the nights get colder and the rhythm's got you falling behind, just dream about that moment when you look yourself right in the eye. Then you say, I wanna dance, the music's got me going and nothing that can stop how we move. Yeah, let's break the place and live just like we're golden and rolling like we're dancing fools. We don't need to worry, just when we fall we know how to land. Don't need to talk the talk, just walk the walk tonight. Cause we don't need permission to dance. There's always something that's standing in the way, but if you don't let it phase you, you know just how to break just with the right vibe, yeah. Cause there's no looking back, there ain't no one to prove we don't got this on lock, yeah.
Yo, I love the message. I wasn't prepared for something so motivating, but I love everything they say because that one line that really stood out, like I'll keep it forever, like the whole when you fall you'll know where to land, you'll know how to land. And I love that because you're not denying that you're gonna fall, but you're confident enough that you're gonna stick the landing. And I love that message because it's not naive to the point where, oh, like everything's gonna be okay, nothing bad's gonna happen, but instead it's saying that like you got this. And I love that message.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also agree with that approach because like I don't think approaching life overly optimistic will suit you well. Because then you have sometimes unrealistic expectations where like with him, he's expecting to fall, but it's just a matter of like knowing you're going to fall or knowing you're going to fail and just knowing to like push forward and then getting up. So yeah, definitely a good but also a realistic message, like in terms of like how you approach life.
One to prove we don't got this on lock, yeah. The wait is over, the time is not, so let's do it right. Yeah, we keep going and stay up until we see the sunrise. And we say, I wanna dance, the music's got me.
Wow, stay up until you see the sunrise. Like, just to me, I think about like that message to people who don't want to move on with life and they just want to end it. I love that line because it's asking them to just wait a little longer, like the sun will rise. Because it shows that like the person's right now like in the dark, or just like in a very dark place. I mean,
Yeah, I agree with that. Initially, when I thought about that, I thought about like someone who actually doesn't want to sleep because like they're like enjoying life, like they don't want to sleep because your realities. I guess I was thinking more of it from like their perspective, where I feel like their reality, like they're living their dream. So why would you want to sleep when you're so engrossed in reality?
I see.
That's kind of how I thought about it initially, but your interpretation, I think, makes more sense.
I mean, I love that like you can look at it in any way, actually.
Because like when you think about staying up until we see the sunrise, you can also think about like being with a significant other, where you don't want to sleep. You kind of want to just hang out and you literally break night. It's what you do when you're young. Then you get old, you're like, let's get that sleep.
Yeah, we keep going and stay up until we see the sunrise. And we say, I wanna dance, the music's got me going, and nothing that can stop how we move. Yeah, let's break our plans and leave just like we're golden and rolling like we're dancing fools. We don't need to worry, 'cause where we from, we know how to live.
Yo, how they got all those balloons in those dryers, right?
Yeah,
Or is it a washer?
it's a dryer.
What do you think that means?
I don't know.
Because it's almost like you're trying to contain these balloons that should be like free floating or that should be free, right? So they're
Yeah.
like being contained.
Oh, and then like there's like that one balloon that was free.
Right, exactly.
Oh.
And that's like, I think these balloons are like the masses that are
Yes.
kind of like stuck in this dryer that should be free.
Yeah.
So I wonder how, like, I wonder what happens towards the end of the video with these balloons.
They're gonna release them, I think.
Yeah. Because it's funny, like you see how they illuminate in the background.
Yeah.
Like they're clearly illuminating. They want you to see that there's balloons in this
Yeah.
washer.
And then
dryer.
there's some balloons that are kind of like laid on the floor.
Yeah. They're just flat. Like dead.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me show you that we can keep the fire alive. Cause it's not over till the summer. Say one more time. Say, I wanna dance. The music's got me going. Nothing that can stop how we move. Yeah, let's break our plans and live just like we're golden and rolling like we're dancing fools. We don't need to worry, 'cause when we fall, we know how to let. Don't let the talk, just walk the walk tonight.
And I love how like they got everyone taking off these masks, where it's almost like, and essentially what they're basically saying is just like, don't worry, just live your life. And I think that's also symbolic for what's going on too.
It's so symbolic because like now people can take off their masks
Right.
and they don't have to enforce it. And it's just, this music video was perfectly made for today, like
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Because that's how it feels like right now.
Yeah, because I think there are a lot of people that are fearful. So I think it's a good song for people that are just more anxious and fearful of the situation. I guess it depends on how you look at it, but there's a lot of people that have that interpretation of the situation where like they're just overly cautious, I would say.
Mm-hmm. And this idea, like not needing permission to dance, I think symbolizes like like now you can carry on.
Yeah.
Just walk the walk tonight. 'Cause we don't need permission to dance.
Hey, so you see all the balloons?
Mm-hmm.
They were set free. And you notice how like there are different types of people. Like I don't know if you've seen the sign where it's at like San Francisco, Moscow. So like obviously it's a message for, everyone across the world. And that's why he had these signs of like different states, different countries, also different types of people. Like you have the janitor and the teacher. So obviously he's talking to the educational system, to kids, to like the office. You've seen like the office guy that's just dancing. So it's a message for essentially everybody, and everyone's going through the same thing in terms of like COVID. So I think that's why they symbolize like the entire world. Essentially, they're not really trying to alienate the video towards any particular group.
Yeah, I think BTS does such a great job, like being ahead of, almost like being ahead of like even the marketing team. Because I remember when they put out Dynamite. And this was like last year around March, I want to say, or I don't know, can't remember. But it was like telling everyone like everything's gonna be okay. And then now, the world's opening up, and they're basically telling everyone like you can live your life.
Yeah, what I like about their, like, I don't know if I would call it a strategy or just their focus, but it seems to me that their focus is more on like, how can we make music that not just everyone can relate to, but how can we make music that can impact and make everybody happier, right?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what their focus seems to be. Like they can cater, and I think that's why they have so many subscribers and views, because they can cater to the broad audience. Like anyone can relate to it. And I think when they make music, they're making music and thinking about like what they can do to impact the world. And they're not very focused on just their lifestyle. They're more focused on what's going on. And this is very relevant. And I think some artists don't have that same mindset or that same insight. Instead of just like you see some artists, they're more focused on like what they have, the money they have, what they're getting, more of their personal experience, which is fine, but they're more focused on the experience of the world. Yeah, and I think that's a very good reason as to why they're so successful. I wonder where they're at. Where do you think they are?
Arizona? When I think of something dry, I just automatically think of Arizona or like Nevada.
Yeah, it's easy to think that, right?
Yeah. Meanwhile, they're like in a different like country.
Yeah, I was just thinking about like if they're in the middle of the desert, like they had to bring everybody there, and I think about like that tractor trailer that they have in the background. They're probably like, hey, let's just fit as many people as we can in this
like
in this trailer. Yeah, exactly.
I every time I watch them, I just appreciate them so much more for what they do, for their message. It's always so relevant. Um, they're not just talent, like they use their talent and their platform to really make people feel better, like you mentioned. And I think that's so important as an entertainer to not just focus on yourself, but to focus on your influence and making sure that, you know, every time you do make an influence, it's for the greater good, not just for, you know, selfish reasons.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that's why they have the support that they have. You know, their approach is, it's almost like an unselfish approach, but it benefits them, right? Like when you
Yeah.
make music that benefits everybody, like it's obviously gonna come back and benefit you as well,
Yeah.
because now you're gathering the support of a broad audience, people that really like you, not just for your music, but like for your message and for what you're trying to do. You know, so it kind of made me think about like I've only watched it maybe 1 or 2 years, but when they select like a Miss Universe, like it's not just about like how you look, like you have to have like some character there, and that's how you kind of get the support, and like it's how the judges score you. That's why at the end they have like these. I feel like it's kind of, I'm not a fan of the speeches because I feel like it's very,
Scripted.
it comes off as disingenuous sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it comes off a little naive to me, I want to say,
I see.
where they're just like over.
You're so dark.
It's like, hey, like I just want to save the world. But it's fine. Like it's just, I don't know. For me, sometimes it could come off a little. It just makes me cringe a little bit when it comes off too
Positive.
Yeah, it's just too much. I think.
I
I don't
see.
know. Maybe it's just my temperament. But like with BTS, it comes off very authentic.
I think it's so cool that they can just do so many different types of music. Like, I think that's the coolest part about them, that you look at them and you have this perception of the type of music they make, and then they start rapping. Like, that always surprises me.
Yeah. Yeah, and overall, like they can switch between. I like that they can shift their attitudes, right? Like one video can be dark, as opposed to like the next video can be really optimistic and really positive, and the next one is a breakup song and really dark. They're like back in the trenches, like back in like tunnels, and just the setting, and their settings are always really appropriate for their songs. Like this one's really light, colorful, which also represents like the different ethnic groups that they have in their video. Where in like, I forget the other video. The other video was like really dark when they were talking about like love. So they're really good at that. At just depicting the different moods that they have.
Mm-hmm.